Test. Hello, everybody. Okay, how's everybody feeling today? All good? So it's been from 10 o'clock all the way until now. So can anybody guess what's the next session after my talk? Oi, really? It's lunch? Okay, so lunch is not served yet. So I got to keep you guys company for a couple of minutes, okay? So bear with me, my topic is going to be very dry. Okay, so it's going to be very broad-based. So I'll try my best to put some anecdotes in there, and then I hope that your response back to me is either a smile or a laugh, so at least I know that I'm on the right track. Okay, so why I'm talking to you in a very, very slow manner is not to put you all guys into a lullaby, but because I'm trying to get my slides up. Another 2 more minutes, so just bear with me for a moment. Okay, so I'm going to keep it really, really light. And if you have questions, what I like to do is that, get your questions onto the mic. So I have standby 4 or 5 mics there. And then I will also have some trivial questions at the end with a little bit of a reward if you're in town, because it's happened to be in Singapore, not so much over here. All right? Okay. I see. So crypto asset trends and predictions for 2019. I've already shared this somewhat in my early part of January. So this is probably going to be my 4th or 5th publication, but it's always improving. And actually, one of these publications will also be coming out on ICO Bench if you actually follow their reports that have been coming out recently. So do keep involved and updated with newsletters and joining a community. All right? So, okay, so this is one of my series of what I actually do. So that's Crypto Valley goes to countries. So I get invited to some of these countries. I've been to Philippines, Thailand, Indonesia as well, Switzerland. Yep, so I've been up to Malaysia about 7 times last year. So also, basically everything is all on a blockchain space. Okay, so I'll try to keep my conversation a bit short, yeah? Okay, so I would say that what's the first? I have actually 10 predictions for the crypto space, but I will only be able to cover a few of them. So please go on to my LinkedIn, and then you get the full publication. All right. So what would I, based on the last 2 years' observations and travels, how I've put this together comes from all of that experience. I go through about 3 to 5 projects an evening. And that works out to be about close to 60 to 80 projects a month. So when I go through that selection process, then I maybe pick out of every 200, 1 or half a project. So I maybe have to go to 300, 400 projects before I take one onto my portfolio. All right? So I would say that for this year, there'll be more focus on STOs. And just now, when I asked STO, I'm not sure if everybody knew what the acronym STO stands for. So it's Security Token Offering. All right? So essentially, there's a value attached to this, like a share or some part of the company, should, in the event of filing of a Chapter 11 or closing of the company, you will have a stake in that company. All right? Whereas in an ICO situation, you do not have a stake. Okay? So some of the projects will be property. So we also talk about property. So one of the properties that I'm actually sitting as advisory is BrickBits. BrickBits essentially is a property or real estate play that is STO based. So we are talking about fractionalizing assets in which for $100, $1,000 you can actually get on board. So this one is actually from Italy and run by 2 architects. Total combination, they will have like 40 years of experience in the architecture space. So these are kind of things like you want to look at. So one of my selection criteria is the leadership. So why leadership? Very important. Cannot be understated. I cannot emphasize it more. If you get a good leader and he's got a lousy project, and the market is bad, the good leader will find solutions to bring that project out of a lousy economic situation. You get a good project and you get a lousy leader, even no matter how good, the project also will collapse. I do not know whether you agree with me, but this is just a philosophical talk, right? So one of my first criteria is effectively looking at the leadership team, and then the advisory, and then the operation team. How much experience do they have? Where do they come from? But having said that, in the ICO space, there are many, many people who are sub 35 years old, which I do a market valuation on them. Those under 35, can you raise your hand? Under 35 years old? Wow, okay. So you guys have a valuation by me of a potential earning power of $10 million and above. USD, not RM. If you run a project. Okay? So anybody under 35, go look for them. They got fantastic ideas, no baggage, probably not married, but it's okay. They can work 24 hours for you. And still go party and then come and work for you the whole week. Okay, still looking fresh. Okay, I did 4 a.m. the last few days. I'm like, oh my gosh, my eyes are like red. You know, my nose is dripping and things like that. Okay, so it's old age. Now, anybody who is under 45 and below, 35 to 45. Okay, so this reduced to $1 million. Okay, so this is just a little trivial. So $1 million earning potential. Work harder because your economic life and your career has shortened by almost a decade compared to the 35-year-old. Am I right? Okay, I don't want to know, but who is, basically those who didn't raise hands, I take it they're above 45 years old, right? So if you're above 45 years old, the chances of you earning $1 million and saving that into your bank account is almost virtually zero. Okay? So why is that so? You have a whole bunch of experience, whole bunch of career. Behind you, you have saved a certain amount. But why is it you can't even make $1 million or let alone 1 million RM? Okay? It's the thinking, the process of how the young ones operate and how the more senior ones with experience have to consider so many things. Okay, so you have this speed of interaction. Imagine a baby. You know, if I'm a baby, this is a swimming pool. I have no fear. You know, I think that's how the brand No Fear came about. So no fear, I just go and then whoop, because I know my parents will pick me up. Okay, no fear. So when you do a project, you must have no fear. Just go ahead. We do not know what's happening, and you can't have 100% perfection before you launch it. That was yesteryear. But for me, being a perfectionist, I used to have 100% first before I go, right? But then I realized that my boss wanted things faster, so I go at 60, 70%, about there, and then I go. Okay? Now that I'm in the blockchain space, I say that at 10%, I'm ready to go. 20%, I'm ready to go. But if I'm American, so it's a cultural thing, if I'm American, at 0%, I'll say, I've got the best and most awesome project. You should invest in me, and I'll make you a millionaire. Am I right? So what about white paper? What about technical paper? Nonsense. Marketing is key. All right? If you have a vision, you must be passionate about it. Go and share, broadcast it. Okay? In this Chinese, there's a Chinese saying, there's this Chinese judge that has got a little crescent on his head. Okay? It's called Bao Jingtian. Okay? So this judge, ancient history of Chinese, I learned a lot of my strategies from Sun Tzu, Art of War, and all the business strategy all comes from military anyway. Okay? So basically, there's this thing called Guang Ming Zheng Da. Okay? One second condition for me in selection of a project is you have to have publicity. If just me and you, I put money in you, if you run, who am I going to complain to? All right? But if I have all of you, okay, investing even a little bit of money with me, if I run, man, if I go anywhere, I got to be very, very careful, you know, because I got so many of you complaining. So it means the project that goes in has to have a certain amount of publicity, certain amount of following. So community is important. So this is my second point that I want to give to you in my selection of projects, okay? So just now we also talked about cryptocurrency exchanges, okay? So we've got new exchanges coming up. There are many of them, all right? So exchanges has, very interestingly, was not the main calling, but it is one of the stations in which after you raise your funds, you have to be placed somewhere for your secondary market, all right? So exchanges is where the VCs and institutions are placing their money. Why? Because in a portfolio, I will have many projects. So it's called diversifying my investment. So an exchange would actually have a lot of projects on board. Even if one project dies, it's okay. Not so much for the investor, but the exchange still generally still stays there, provided it's a good project, good follow-on, okay? So on top of that, there's a lot of liquidity inside there as well. So if a VC puts money or institution puts money onto an exchange, effectively he's already diversifying a single dollar that he has, as opposed to one single risk. But having said that, different play, different way, all right? Okay, so I also see that the quality of ICO projects are also getting better, okay? And why I say that is because now, even though we see a slowdown in terms of funding from an annual basis from January last year to now, and also the quantity of the projects are also smaller, but the average size of an ICO raising money is still $10 million. So anybody who raises a project is about $10 million on average when we aggregate all the ICOs together and all the monies together and divide. Okay, so it's still about $10 million. Now, I say that because we are already in our third generation. For me, it's a third generation of projects. Why? First generation is all funded by retail investors, putting in $100. It's enough to get in, and it's 100%. Second generation is basically all institution, because you, me, that's it, nobody else. Okay? They realize that doesn't work as well because they got to go stock exchange. When they go to stock exchange, they have no liquidity because only 2%, right? So the third generation, which is basically a blend right now. So you have to have retail guys and you have private institution. Each of them has got their use. The institution guys will give you quick funding, very big money, but you cannot forget the retail guys like all ourselves. Why? Because they're the rattlers. Your private investors will hide in the side, maybe to avoid tax, don't want to pay anything, and then after, if they lose, they also get malu. So, but retail guys will rattle. So when they rattle, the private institution will actually look more into that project. So that's why I say you have the second point that I mentioned is community, okay, and big marketing or people showing more of your project. Okay, so that's why better quality projects, I say, would probably be better in 2019 and beyond. Second point, governments, small, medium-sized enterprises, and large enterprises, you see recently, if you've been following the news, which is important, okay? Wait, before I say this, who has Telegram on their phone now? Telegram. Very good, very good. Okay, so Telegram basically is one of the sources of application that you can get attached to a community of some of the projects and see how things are going. Now, if you don't have a Telegram in your, on your phone, you will not be able to follow any project's updates. And then you will never have first-hand information. So with that, that is also negative on your side because you can't get information. So you can't get information, you cannot make an informed decision. Okay, so get a Telegram on your phone and then start anchoring yourself or joining some of the projects inside. All right? If you don't know, I can show you later, free of charge. So we have big people like JP Morgan, Walmart, and Maersk. Okay, Maersk is a shipping line. Walmart is a big like giant. Okay, super big. Okay, and then we'll all explore into private blockchain technologies to help their businesses. So not everything is public. Do I need to put my health information online for everybody to see, to validate? Not necessary. So there's this thing also called private blockchain. So this is about productivity, ROI for the companies. Could be plantation, could be bananas, could be mangoes. Okay, it could be supply chain, it could be passport, control, security. All of these are all private blockchain. Don't need to be made known to everybody. Okay, so some of the ones that I've listed here, Republic of Georgia, have already successfully executed blockchain transactions on property. Okay, so this one you can actually read up if you want a little bit more, property transaction verification protocol. China has got this thing called a blockchain industrial park, and there is a $1.6 billion fund into R&D into this space. Okay, so this is at the highest level of high. Australia government as well has got this thing called, this movement called Integration of Digital Transformation Agency, in which they put $521,000 US dollars to explore the cost of adopting blockchain technology. So the budget here is a bit smaller, but it's basically to explore the cost of adopting technology in the government space. So it's a precursor before adopting blockchain directly. Okay, so this is how we are moving. So when we talk about enterprise, they're going to move a lot slower. Why? Because first, you need to move the idea to a champion inside the ministry. And then after that, after adopting, there will be a POC. After the POC, then we go for budget. After budget, then we execute. Each one takes at least 1 year, 2 years. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 years plus 5 years, if any delay. Any enterprise project coming out, you will see only 4 to 5 to 6 years later. Not today. So the fastest one that you see is retail. Today, you got $100, I go down. So I can afford it. But I'm not going to put like all my life savings, right? So, but for enterprise level, it's different. There's a lot of testing, there's a lot of consultation, in and out, all right? So that's why, whether is it government or whether is it private enterprise, is going to take a bit longer, okay? So Project Ubin was mentioned earlier, so we're now in phase 2. Basically, it's a payment settlement system. So if you buy or you trade in stocks, you will realize that if I want to buy US stocks, right, there's a gap period of about 7 days. So the bank will actually give me a credit line to play contra of 7 days. But there's a risk involved, meaning that that coin, that stock like Citibank share may have already been given out in that 7 days. So that bank actually runs a risk of 7 days. So that credit line is given by the bank itself. But right now, as soon as I have this unit I want to buy, straight away is tagged to me. You cannot double sell that unit of share. So this is a lot more transparent, okay? And I get my money immediately, so it reduces the risk also in the bank, all right? So I'll move on. So also, just to share with you, Malaysia Automotive Robotics and IoT Institute has also signed an MOA with Crypto Valley Malaysia, okay, to actually explore R&D, just to share with you. So that is also on a very big level, so that's fantastic. Okay, I'm going to move on a little bit faster here. Okay, so we talked about trading. So if you don't know how to trade, okay, trading and investment is two different things. I just want to define for you. Trading is you go in and out, day trader or scalping. Whereas you go long means you could hold something like property for 5, 10, 20, 30 years. Okay, so that's the difference. Just to share with you, we have Goldman Sachs coming in. Okay, so Goldman Sachs is already looking at this sophisticated kind of trading tools which are prevalent in our traditional market, going long and going short, leverage margin, if you're familiar. All right, so now in the current market, we don't have this kind of enough of this kind of sophisticated platforms for you to look after your portfolio. Not everything is go long only. Since January last year, we were down. So how to actually deploy a long strategy? You cannot. If you understand what I'm saying, long means you buy low, sell high. Short is when the market goes this way, right? You need to take a position here and then buy back later. And this one is considered more advanced. So if you do not know how to do this, you would not be able to play in the market the whole of last year. Then I would say maybe put your money with a trader that must have this kind of options available. All right? So Goldman Sachs has come out and then started to move into the digital asset space. Okay. That means my time is up. Okay, so more efficient and cheaper mining servers because of technology. Prices are going down, all right? So this one we still need because we have $129 billion of market cap that we need to audit. So mining is actually the physical server you put in a room that's very noisy that you need an exhaust system. Now, this one you still need because it is a mechanism to audit our transactions to make sure that you are a real person, I'm a real person, I got this money, it's not double accounted. So mining has got its function as well, just to share with you. Okay, so education. I think education has been identified by the Singapore government as a growth sector, and our Singapore government, my Singapore government, will be putting more funds into filling this shortage of manpower. So the last point I would say here is how high can BTC go and how low can it get? All right, so this one I think I will save it for later for the conversation. But if you think that at $3,900 it will fall, and you're only concerned that if it falls to $1,000, can you stomach it? Because this is the second question. The first question should be how high can it go? If I say it can go to $1 million, what is this small volatility? All right, so I'm not advocating that you go and buy BTC, okay, but basically put a little bit and see how it works, so you get involved, all right? So I guess for this year, in summary, if I put everything all together, I would say build would be the key thing to build the ecosystem. Okay, so now the new acronym, the new word build is purposefully misspelled. So this is a new, like hoodla, you know, so hoodla is like hoodla, you know, but this build, right? Okay, so this is what I do also in Singapore. Other than flying out the country to share, I also do some in Singapore as well. And a little bit about crypto. If you're interested in Crypto Valley Singapore, just let me know, and then I will actually talk to you a little bit more. So just now that little trivial, okay? So photo contest. If you can find me on Telegram, Crypto Valley Singapore, put a photo there and say, I support Crypto Valley Singapore. And then when I get the next prize sponsorship, I will give one to you. Okay? So just help me with I can't take my own selfie from here, very difficult. So that's first thing, so at least I know that you're on board. So this is one of the things that I want to share with you. So if you want to know more information about Crypto Valley, about crypto space, then you should join an association. There's also Access in Malaysia. Okay, you can also join them as well, all right? Okay, some of the things that we can also do also is that if you wanted to branch out, we also have a co-working space and innovation hub. So this is one of the sponsors. So they are actually giving out 1 free workday in Singapore if you're ever there. But I'd like to up this to 2. So on the spot, if you're actually in Singapore, and just give me a buzz, I'll tell them to allocate 2 free days in this co-working space for you. Basically, it's an innovation hub that's happening. And some of the things that we can actually do over there for you guys. Okay, so it's a bit more than just common ground or work here. All right. So with that, I would say thank you very much, and your attention is most welcoming to me. So I hope to catch up with some of you guys over lunch. And if you've got any questions for me, I can take them later. Rohit, I take any questions or done?
Any questions from the audience? All right, so you can catch him the exhibition area later.
Okay.
Thank you,
Rennie.
Rennie.
Thank you very much, everybody.